Today I would like to tell you the story of the girl with the rose-red slippers. It's a very, very old story, and we've probably heard something like it before. Anyway, this starts with a girl named Rhodopis, and that means rosy cheeks. She was very, very fair skinned and seemed to always have a little bit of blush on her cheeks because that's just the way she was. And it ends with a pharaoh called Amasis. He was the pharaoh who was in charge at the time, and he was a very generous ruler, much beloved by all of his people. Anyway, this girl, Rhodopis, had had much misfortune in her young life. She was actually being sold, which is very, very sad and very, very bad. But it comes to a happy ending. Anyway, this young girl was being sold, and she was purchased by a very generous person who saw her and wanted to adopt her as his own daughter because she was so pretty and so kind. So he did, and he paid a great deal of money to get her to safety. Anyway, as he was raising her and as she was growing, she grew into such a great beauty that everyone was talking about her. And then one day, as she was taking a bath, because it was a very, very hot day and they were out in the swimming pool, a hawk came down and stole her ruby red slippers and carried them off. And she was very, very sad because those slippers had been a gift from the person who was raising her as his own daughter. But the hawk took and dropped them in Pharaoh's lap. Now the Pharaoh Amasis was a wise man, and he saw the hawk drop the slippers, and he took a look at them, and they were so beautiful that they could not be meant for a child, even though they were so small. They had to have been meant for a young lady. And if the slippers were half as beautiful as the girl was, then she was an amazing beauty, and he just had to see her. So he sent a message through all the land asking for the owner of these rose red or ruby red slippers to come forward. So eventually the person that was raising Rhodopis heard the news and said, okay, Pharaoh calls, we must answer because he is so kind and so generous and so wise. We must do this. So they went to the court of Pharaoh, and Pharaoh saw Rhodopis, and he did not care where she'd come from. She was just such a great beauty, and she was so kind that he fell in love with her right there. And he married her and made her his great queen. Now, we probably know this story by a different name, Cinderella, but this is the oldest version of that story that I could find. Thank you. This was the story of the girl with the rose red slippers.